So now for the second part of sketching Cruella, our main focus will be on the eyes, cornea and the remaining parts of lips, nose and the left hand side of hairs. Now starting with the eyes, I will use a charcoal pencil. You can also use 10B pencil, because if you will use a graphite pencil, you can have more sharpened pencils. Or what I mean about saying sharpened is that if you will constantly sharpen your charcoal pencil, they will break easily. And if you don't know how to use blades for sharpening your charcoal pencils, or if you will use your common sharpeners like graphite pencil sharpeners for charcoal pencils, they will break continuously and it is a time waster. So I will use graphite pencil of 10B pencil for making those eye structures. Different type of eyes are also there. There are different type of layers are also there. So I will use a 6B or 8B pencil for a base layer or making outlines of eyes first. There are different type of hairs are also, the eyebrows, the eyelashes and the upper part of eyelashes also. So making those visible while making it completely black, like there is difference between cornea, black color of cornea, the center of the eye, and the eyebrow color and every other in every portraits. But for this particular Cruella's portrait, these come three parts: eyebrows, eyelashes and cornea. These three are completely black like 10B. So use 10B pencil, sharpen it continuously so that you can have more darker values. There is a different of cornea also. The downside part or the circle outside part of circle of cornea is completely black. There is no more details like 8B, 6B or 4B on those parts, so make it circle using 10B pencil, but the center part is white. If you will focus on your eyes also, that the center part which is completely white. So to make those white visible, don't apply pencils on them, because if you will apply any pencil like 2B also, which is the lightest one, if you want to erase it afterwards, you will get a little bit of grayish look but not completely white. So for that, just leave those white circles and outside make those shadows look more grayish and more realistic using your sharpened charcoal pencils. The main thing about sharpening your pencils continuously is that the parts like eyelashes or the middle part of cornea or the eyebrows, which are smaller hairs, too small hairs, and if you want to apply those smaller hairs look more realistic, you have to make too small details. And making those too small details with your flat pencils, like if you will make a 20 or 25 strokes with your pencils, your pencil will look completely flat. So you have to sharpen it. Or if you will use those flat pencils for making those detailed things like eyebrows, eyes or eyelashes, it will look horrible or it will not look too beautiful as much as you want. Now to make those eyes look more realistic, use a second layer, because first layer, which will be of 10B, just blend it using a blending stump. I always recommend that don't use blending stumps on skin texture, but for this picture we all know that there is no skin texture, so use blending stump for blending those parts which are completely dark, not the parts which are eyebrows or upper part of eyebrows, lower part of eyebrows and the eyelashes. Don't blend them, but there are parts which are middle part of the eyebrows which are completely dark, so use blending stump on those part only. The makeup that Cruella is wearing, there is a layer bit of blackish part which is completely going upwards, so make it using 10B pencil. You can have more realistic part if you will use color pencils also, but this picture is completely black and white, so using same 10B pencil will make it more look beautiful. Now the shadows or the highlights, in common parts we see that where the light source is going. So if you will focus on the picture, then you can completely say that the light source is on the front, but the shadow of the nose is going layer bit of on left side, so of course the light source will be on layer bit of tilted on right hand side, so of course the darker side or shadowed side will be on left side. So you have to keep on focusing where the shadows and highlights are going. But if you will see every portraits, there are the two part of nose, left hand side of nose and right hand side of nose, and then the both of the parts there are much details, but The difference between this picture and those portraits or any other reference picture that I have made portraits is that it is completely white on the face. There are no skin textures. So I'm just completely going for a straight line of nose, and I will make a shadow and highlights on them. But keep on focusing on the details that you see. Don't rush your picture while sketching, because if you rush while sketching, it will look completely horrible and you don't want that, right? So now the same technique we have applied on the left hand side of the hairs, the same technique in previous part we have used in the white hairs, the same technique we will use in this part also. The difference between the right hand side of eye and left hand side of eye is not as much as you want, but if you are an advanced artist, you will see that left hand side of eye there are a little bit of blackish part more, because the light and source is on right hand side, and it is not completely dark on right hand side of her eye, but left hand side of her eye is completely black. So you have to keep on focusing on those smaller details also. You will not see those details if you will not zoom out your pictures. So now using the same technique we will make a whiter hairs also. But the difference between the previous part of hairs, which was the upper part of left side of hairs, and the lower part of this picture is that there are smaller blackish part also. So we will use 8B pencil for making those darker parts. You have to keep on focusing that if you will use charcoal pencil for those darker parts, it is more likely to be not blended with graphite pencils, as we all know that graphite pencil and charcoal pencil are completely opposite, and if you want to blend those two parts, that is not evenly possible. So for making those parts, or the charcoal parts and graphite parts blending, you have to see where the hairs are going or where hairs are ending, so that you can apply charcoal pencil on the remaining parts, which are the darker ones, right? So after watching those details, just make outlines, smaller outlines, not darker outlines, because if you will apply more pressure to charcoal pencils, it will look a completely straight line, or the outlines if you want to blend with skin texture or any other portraits, it is not possible with graphite pencils. So use outlines wisely. Use low pressure while making outlines, or you can also tilt your pencils while holding your pencil easily, so that you can apply more details to it. Now using the mono eraser, I will make more highlights to my sketches, and for making highlights you have to keep on cutting your rubbers, mono eraser also cutting your erasers after every 1 or 2 seconds. Now we will see the remaining parts.
So that was all for this tutorial. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like. And comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.